Hola, welcome back. What's happening? It is that time of the year. War Games 1990. And this one looks to be a very promising card without a shadow of a doubt. Again, thanks for dropping in. Thanks for liking. Thanks for subscribing to the channel. You guys are fantastic, as always. So let's let the fiesta begin with War Games. Let's take a look at the card. We got 9 matches, 180 minutes, 3 hours of non-stop action. But first, pre-show, and then let's run it. Up first, we got Muda and Bam Bam Bigelow, two very young upstarts, promising talents without a doubt. And this is a huge win for Muda here. Perhaps his biggest win on the WWF roster. We're at Texas Memorial Stadium, 70,000 plus, jam-packed to see the festivities that War Games can offer. And we're starting it off right with Muda getting a big win over Bam Bam Bigelow. And hopefully this is the start of a tremendous tenure here in the States for Muda. Full disclosure, he is there was a short list of people that I was like I wanted in this on this roster. Flair was near the top of that, Dusty was near the top of that, and Muda was probably near the top of that as well. And honestly, he was a huge reason for why we purchased NJPW. So I'm very excited to see what we can do with him on the roster. So this hopefully will be the start of something great for him, because I'm definitely excited to have him. Then we have the women's title match up next. Only a 70, but not because of Nagayo's performance. Honestly, more needs to be done on my part. I will take responsibility, but I do think this is the first. This is a 70 title match, so we're moving on up, so to speak. Nagayo obviously doing tremendous. I mean, she is a legend as far as women's wrestling goes. And, there's not much more to say about that, except that we really, on my part, need to do more so that there's more diversity in the women's division, so that it's not just, AJ, Bull, and Nagayo who can put on the good matches. But nonetheless, Nagayu's run is, I think, understated, while it has probably progressed the division the furthest so far. So she's definitely earned her spot in the history books of the WWF. Now we got open challenges afoot, as DiBiase and Bret kind of have a slightly comedic spot here. At least that was the goal, in which they dish out open challenges, and they are both answered by Barry Windham and Misawa. So it looks like we have 2 very good matches here in the opening bouts of War Games 1990. And up first, we got Barry Windham getting a huge win over Ted DiBiase. Both competitors did tremendous in the opening bout. 82 is about as good a match you can get with just 14 minutes of action. Superb wrestling Great heat. We will take it. And then up next, we got Bret and Misawa going at it. Uno Mas. They have great chemistry. And definitely about we want to see. I mean, this is a rivalry that I've said it before. I'll say it again. Could eclipse the real-life rivalry between Bret Hart and Misawa, especially with what has been happening with Bret Hart or Shawn Michaels, because he cannot. Every single show he's showing up wasted, and I keep sending him back to rehab, fining. So I'm at a loss. I'm gonna keep him on the roster. I have him signed for a very long period, and just hope I can get a stretch out of him, because obviously he is in ring one of the best talents we have, and I want to be able to utilize him. I mean, and honestly, the roster is huge now, so it would be hard to find a solid spot for him. But I mean, he's such a talent that I could. Enough of that though. Misawa gets the win over Bret in another tremendous technical masterclass between the two. They absolutely nail it. Another superb wrestling match with good heat. And we're going to have to see where this one goes moving forward. Obviously, this is a bout that I think has main event written all over it. And it might come sooner rather than later. Then we got Hulk Hogan cutting a promo because he is challenging for the IC title tonight against Jakey Snakey Roberts, which should be a tremendous bout. Two of the absolute biggest characters, perhaps, and best promos in the biz. And I think that their styles would mesh very, very well. And Hulk in a neat position. We're getting to do some stuff that we really have never done with Hogan. One was him being in the opening bout, and on the last pay-per-view isn't generally a spot you see Hogan, and now challenging for the IC title. As far as I'm concerned, I think the only time he's been in a bout that the IC title was against Warrior in the real-life WrestleMania 6 main event. So that is definitely something different. We're putting Hogan in different spots, trying to build him up. But before we get to that, I believe we have... Oh, no, never mind. We had that IC title bout and bad chemistry. So luckily, it was in the middle of the card, and it was only a 78. These things happen. What are you going to do? Did not expect it. Honestly, I'm glad I found out this way, however, because who knows, Hogan on the main event could have easily gone up against Jake Roberts, and it's better to happen in the middle of the card than in the main event. So not much to take away from this bout besides the fact that Hogan wins, but Jake retains because he lost via countout. So disappointing. Definitely Jake's IC title run has not been illustrious thus far. Hopefully we can rebound it, or at least start to generate some goodwill from that title. So far better than what we have had up until this point. Then we got promos from Sting, the face of a new generation, and Ric Flair, the standard guard of wrestling's past and the greatness that you can attain in this industry after years of cutting and strutting. Oh no, jet flying, limousine riding, and holding alligators down, because they are going to be going mano-y-mano, War Games style. 4v4 Team Stinger versus Flair's Horsemen. Essentially, Sting and the Warrior were kind of mixed in this battle with Jake Roberts. And obviously he was going to face Jake for the IC title, was found injured, unable to compete in the bout on pay-per-view just last month, I believe, or maybe it was just a few weeks ago actually in the game. Regardless, it was the Horsemen who were responsible. Then, obviously, the Busters were locked in a war with the Steiners. Steiners retained. They did not take kindly to that, so there was attacks on television following that title bout. And then, we have a fourth ally of Sting to even up the numbers in this War Games bout, which we will see in just a moment who Sting's mystery partner is. And this should be very good. This is the reason why we pack the stands at the Austin Memorial Stadium. It's War Games, 2 rings, 1 cage, and 1 victor. Let's get it going, as Dusty Rhodes would be the man who comes to the aid of Stinger and the Steiners, as Team Sting gets the win here at War Games in the aforementioned, or the namesake match. The War Games match. Sting slaps that Scorpion Deathlock on Mr. Perfect and wins the bout. Great performances all round. Rick Steiner is really starting to come into his own. Scott Steiner obviously looks like he's main event ready now. Dusty, as always, main event caliber. Stinger, always great. Perfect is one of the best on his team, which is awesome. Busters not as popular as they had once been, and Flair obviously the high man on the totem pole. All things considered, this was a cool little match. We've been looking for stuff to do with the Horsemen, especially since we kind of mixed up the 4, got Windham out, heading in. So Sting gets the big win, however, and I think this will be a huge feather in his cap, and something to keep in mind, obviously, for the future. So that's obviously something cool to keep in mind. Up next, Hennig did not like the brawl-based match. I can dig it. He still did well, so no complaints on my end. This is a risky bout, obviously, but definitely a story that I feel like is worth telling following the Crockett Cup, which is one of our most successful pay-per-views in a while, which I do recommend if you have not seen it already. We had Dynamite turn on Davey following their match in the finals. So, Davey has decided he wants to finish this in the ring once and for all. Obviously, Dynamite had felt like Davey's singles run had gotten in the way of their tag run, their camaraderie, and their teamwork. So Dynamite is trying to not only show Davey that he is just as capable as a singles competitor, but also that Davey should have kept his wagon hitched to the workhorse of the team, that being the Dynamite Kid. So 2 absolutely beauties in ring are gonna go at it for the NWA Heavyweight title here in the co-main event. This one I really hope does well. I feel like Dynamite really deserves more than what I have given him. He's been super successful in the tag division, but this is just as much about seeing what we can get out of him as a singles competitor, especially now that Davey is a singles champion, especially an NWA champion. So exciting. I hope this does well, and let's see how it does. 96. That is absolutely awesome, but it says Dynamite is not eligible for the NWA. That's stupid. We're gonna have to change that. Nonetheless, Davey retains the title with a running power slam. Superb wrestling, great heat. These two absolutely kill it. Davey Boy is main event ready, and Dynamite is definitely shown that he can bring it when it comes to singles matches. And this possibly will not be the last time we see these two competitors go one-on-one. But this is definitely one of the best bouts of the night. Very excited about that. I was obviously hoping it did well, and it definitely delivered. Without further ado, let's go to the Randy Savage promo, because he is going to be going one-on-one. We're following up the co-main event with two technical wrestlers. I mean, I feel like Davey versus Dynamite is sort of a dream match. This is another dream match for sure. Savage, Steamboat, Uno. For the very first time, these two legends are going to lock horns in the main event of War Games. Definitely the rightful headliner for this. I mean, we got the War Games bout, then we got Davey Dynamite and Savage Steamboat on top. The only match big enough to headline this pay-per-view, and let's see how it does. Hopefully we can follow up that great match with another one. Then it's a 5-star insta classic. Sensational wrestling, great heat. Savage defeats Steamboat via submission, and that makes it defense number 2. Savage's second run is off to a hot start. Savage is over like Rover Daddy, no doubt about it, and Steamboat comes up just short. He was trying to etch his name in the history books as the, I guess he would be the 6th two-time WWF World Heavyweight title holder. But I feel like by the end of his run, he might hold that belt a few more times. But, well, tonight just wasn't his night. But classic match. Steamboat has been on a run as of lately. Savage and Flair, man, he's definitely had some really great matches, great main events. Anytime you see Steamboat, Savage, Flair on the marquee, you know you're in for a good night. So obviously this one tore the house down, 5-star bout. Absolutely tremendous, and a great way to end an already great card. And then we got a post-match attack as Taker, the long-standing rivalry of Steamboat, comes and tombstones Steamboat right in the middle of the ring, adding insult to injury, or rather injury to further injury. Now let's see what the pay-per-view rating is. 97. Man, we're off to a real hot start coming out of WrestleMania 6 with more great pay-per-views. Guys, you have been phenomenal. Thank you for coming in, stopping by, and watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. So I will catch y'all on the flippity floop.